Good evening, everyone. With the time being 6:00 p.m. on Tuesday, March 14th, 2023, I will call this meeting of the Webster School Committee to order. And as a reminder, we are utilizing the provisions that were set forth during the COVID-19 pandemic to hold this meeting virtually in effect because of the snow, but the meeting has been posted on the district website. So it is open for people to attend and participate. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the February 28th, 2023 meeting. Is there any discussion about those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Member Blythe,
Yes.
Member Naparata,
Yes.
Member Millet,
Yes.
Member Adamopoulos,
Yes.
Chair Siddiqui.
Yes. Motion passes. So we do have the student representative update on the agenda. I'm not sure if Vicky is able to join remotely or not. Lori or Monique, have you heard anything about that?
I shared the new agenda and the link with her, but I didn't hear back.
Okay. I'm just waiting a second because we have one participant here, just in case that happens to be Vicky. No? Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to hold out for those updates. I think the last time we were together, we were in this format also. So I think Vicky's probably going to have lots of updates for us when she's able to join us again in person. And the next item on the agenda is the report from our interim superintendent, Mrs. Perangeli. Good evening, Mrs. Perangeli.
Good evening. Thank you. I hope everybody's all shoveled out as we are here in Webster today. I know the roads were a little slick out there, and we hunkered down inside. But in all honesty, you know, even though we didn't have snow here today, all the communities around us are seeing some heavy snow. And with our staff, knowing our staff are safe at home, we'll take the extra day at the end of the school year and take this one on the chin a little bit, I think, as we move forward. But moving right into my report under personnel update, I am very, very pleased to announce that before Dr. Gogin's departure, Ms. Pugliafico signed a 3-year contract as the principal of Park Ave. As you all know, Ms. Pugliafico was currently serving as the interim, and I could not be more pleased in finding out that Ms. Pugliafico will be here for another 3 years. She has shown that she is more than capable and has strong leadership skills and has really got the team at Park Ave rallied around her. So I just wanted to congratulate Mrs. Pugliafico and say, I am very excited to have you for 3 years here in Webster.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to be here to stay on.
It's great news. We're lucky to have you.
And I have another exciting announcement. We also had another interim at Park Ave. That would have been our interim assistant principal, Miss Annie Thompson. Miss Thompson has also signed on as assistant principal. She will no longer be carrying the interim title. So she is here. She is part of the Unit B contract, and we hope she will be in this district for years to come. I know they make a wonderful team over there at Park Ave, and it is really comforting to know that we have a great team and some strong leadership that'll be helping us move forward here in Webster. So thank you and congratulations, Annie.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here too and continuing to work with Amy and Matt to make Park Ave even better than it is today, if that's even possible.
Great. Thanks for those updates. That's very exciting. We're lucky to have you too, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Kelly.
Great. Moving forward under instructional leadership, I've been spending the last week and a half in my role, just getting my bearings with the leadership teams and the players across the district. I had the opportunity to meet with SAUCE. That is the nickname Webster has kind of given them. They are a statewide systems of support. I met with them on Wednesday, March 8th. to just be brought up to date about where we are as a district, what we're working on, what initiatives we have in place. And really just to get the understanding that they wanted me to know that they are here for our support and our guidance, and they will assist me in any way I need moving forward. So it was great to get up to speed with them, to meet them, and to know that moving forward, we have good partnerships with the state. So I appreciate that meeting. Also, a meeting that I attended was a Glean meeting on Wednesday, March 8th. As you know, they are coming in working on ELA throughout the district. My role there was I sat and I listened and I observed the collaborative meetings that they've had going on throughout the school year. And I was really impressed with the work that they are doing. It is middle school and high school involved with the Glean grant. They were talking primarily about ELA surveys and assessments at that point. They are going to be sending out an ELA survey to our students here in Webster from 6 through 12, taking that feedback and reviewing it for our professional day on March 24th. That survey is just really to get the students' perspective on the curriculum that they're using, what they're learning. I can read you a couple questions if you want. It's meant for grade 6 through 12. The first question starts out for your past unit. What curriculum did your teacher use, study sync or other? So what materials were they using? Then there was a question throughout the past unit. Did the characters or people in the text or have ideas that look like me or are similar to what I think? And it was just a very small 5-minute survey, but really just to gauge what the students think we are at with our ELA curriculum, and they're going to take that feedback and go back and look at it. So I was really pleased to hear that they are getting student input. They also had some great discussion around the assessments we're using in the district, cataloging the assessments and what we are using when, and what are we doing with the data. So these are just ongoing, and this was my first meeting, so just getting a grasp of the work that they're currently doing. They went into much more in-depth discussion, but I'm really pleased and impressed with the work they have going on here in the district, and I was very happy to be able to attend and just to get a glimpse of the work that's been done here. So that's nice work by all. Are there any questions about that? No, great. In other updates, I am pleased to announce Dr. Gogan recently had announced the John and Abigail scholarships at one of the prior school committee meetings. We were recently notified that 3 additional students had qualified for the scholarships. I would like to congratulate Anus Manulit, Ethan Manarick, and Amelia Faye Shippey for obtaining those scholarships. Congratulations to them. In addition, we had another student earn the Student Achievement Award, which was Desmond Zona. So I just want to congratulate all of them for their work. That's great news, and we were excited to see that. Any questions about that? No, great. I also had the pleasure of participating in Community Reading Day. I'm not going to go into that too much because I know Amy's going to talk about that, but that was one of the highlights of my past 2 weeks. And that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to ruin Amy's takeaway on that. And since Victoria is not here, I know she was going to talk about this, but I'm going to steal her thunder. I had the honor of going with Victoria on Tuesday the 7th to the superintendent's luncheon in Worcester at Holy Cross. And it was just such a pleasure to get to spend a couple hours with Victoria, get to know her a little bit better, seeing, you know, I see her at school committee meetings, but it was really 2 hours spent honoring her as she received her award. And just all of the students that attended were amazing in their accomplishments, and she is to be congratulated. And I wish her the best. I know Victoria is going to succeed at no matter whatever she does. She is just a class act all the way across the board. So congratulations, Victoria. And then another announcement, I think we've already heard this from Mr. Collins, but I just wanted to let everybody know that Empty Bowls is back. That is going to be happening on Friday, April 14th from 6 to 8 at the high school. As always, that is a wonderful event that we get to enjoy and our community comes in. So I look forward to seeing everybody there. I hope everybody can attend for some good food, some good company, and admiring all the work that our students do in their art program. So I look forward to that. And that's all I have under the superintendent's report.
Are there any questions or comments from Mrs. Perangeli? All right, switching hats for a moment, Mrs. Perangeli, the next item on the agenda is the business manager report.
Great, thank you. Not too much here going on under school building committee update. We have a scheduled meeting for Tuesday, March 21st, so that'll be next Tuesday night. We haven't had a meeting since early February. Their work is still continuing. We're having additional meetings with food service and the commissioning departments. But really it's just touching base and having those initial small group meetings or meetings about security door locks and things like that. But we will have more of an update after our March 21st meeting where we're all together as a group. We haven't done that in a couple of months now, so that'll be a good meeting to get some additional information. Moving on to maintenance updates, we did have, it must be the month for clogs or something. I don't know what's in the air, but we had to shut down the C wing, C bathrooms because there was a broken coupler in one of the pipes. So it was causing a backup, which we believed was fixed. They came in, they responded right away and fixed it. But after a while, we continued to have clogs in the bathrooms and had to shut them down. So we did call Drain Away, who came in right away. They removed the clog and we are up and running and monitoring to make sure we're having no more issues and it's not something bigger in that area. But it seems like we had an issue at the middle school with the same kind of problem, and now we're having an issue at the high school. So hopefully it's all been resolved. Other than that, the buildings are maintaining very well. I'm very happy that we've had a mild winter with our heating, so that's a good sign. And we will continue to monitor our systems as we move forward. But I did have a request from our groundskeeper. With spring coming, they are spending a lot of time trying to clean up our ground areas outside. The students are going to be going out more and more with spring sports coming and gym classes going outside. We're finding a lot of trash and dog mess, dog feces left around our property. We love that the community comes in and uses our facilities. We welcome them, but we're just looking for their assistance in maybe cleaning up after their pets. We are going to put some additional trash cans out there around the grounds in different areas to encourage people to use them. But if we could just ask people to help us keep our grounds clean. We don't want any messes being brought back into the school from our students who are out there using our fields and playing sports. We want to continue to let the community use our fields and walk their dogs. And we're pleased to see that, but we just hope they continue to help us keep them clean and safe for our students. Do you have any questions about that or comments? No. And then last thing under, and so I'll go into other updates. In your packet, you should have a couple audits. You have the single audit and the town audit. I am very pleased to say that both audits came back very, very good. The single audits, they look at our large grants, our large federal grants. They looked at, for the school department this year, special education and our food service grant. And I'm happy to say that there were no findings. There were no findings actually across the town. And even on our town audit, they are very pleased at the progress Webster has made over the years with our financials and the commitment to improving our policies and our strong financial policies. So I just want to congratulate the town, and I want to tell our special ed and our food service department that they're doing a great job. And we continue to monitor our grants closely and try and stay on top of things. So a well done job by everybody. And then in other news, we also had a steamer that has been broken at the Webster Middle School. Our food service director, Kelsey Sanders, applied for an equipment grant, which she received in the amount of $20,000 to put towards our new steamer. So that's great news. A new steamer runs from about $45,000 to $50,000. So that's going to cover, you know, close to half the cost. So it was a great job by her applying and receiving that grant. And she does have the available funds in her food service revolving account to cover the remaining cost of the steamer. So we will get that. We are in the process of receiving quotes, getting quotes, and we will go out and purchase a new steamer. So I just wanted to congratulate Kelsey and tell her good job for going out there and applying for those grants to assist our programming. And if there are no questions, that concludes my report there on the business side of things.
Excellent. Thank you, Mrs. Prangeli.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the committee? No. Hearing none, the next item on the agenda is the principal report. And joining us this evening from Park Avenue Elementary School is Miss Amy Poliafico. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. So I'm going to start with our PBIS update. We have a lot of steam behind our PBIS work right now. We've hung some new expectation signs up around the building. All students have circulated around to review the expectations and common areas around the building. And we have also started our PawCoin program where students, for demonstrating positive, appropriate behaviors, can earn PawCoins, which go to their full class. So the class earns as a whole, and the highest winning class at the end of the week per grade earns the trophy of our polar bear mascot for the week. So it's quite a big scene to have Glacier going around to all of the classrooms with his music and dropping off those polar bears. It's really generated a lot of excitement. So I certainly want to thank our Dean of Students, Matt Aronian, and our two coaches, Gina Wojo and Megan Strascala, for their work, along with our whole PBIS team. They've really been working hard to bring that to life. ST Math is a program that I have talked about before at school committee. It is a program that we use across all grade levels, and we have a couple things going on around that. We're in the midst of ST Math Madness brackets, kind of playing off March Madness. So classes are competing against each other for a number of puzzles. We also have a tiny teacher program utilizing 4th grade students to assist younger students in ST Math, going down into their classes when they're working on it. Tara Gelino, our coach, did a little workshop with those 4th graders on how to be ST Math coaches and help the students, not just give answers. And we have already surpassed our end of year % progress from last year. So last year we ended the year at 42% progress, and we have already surpassed that this year. So the teachers have really made a concerted effort to be incorporating that program into their classrooms. And thank you to our coach, Tara Gelino, and our ST super champion, Pam Narik, for really spearheading that programming. As Ms. Perangeli noted, we did have Community Reading Day, and it was very successful. We had members from all over the community: fire, police, library, central office, local government, as well as representation from school committee and WUSOCs, Holy Cross, just a very Mafre, a very wide cross-section of the community. It was fantastic. Former employees, it was great. big congratulations to our academic interventionist team, Deb Pushas, Sue Ricard, Faith Baronis, Joyce Simonelli, Tracy Banjo, and Ashley Jordan. They worked very hard to put that together, as they do every year, as I understand, and it was very successful. So it was a great day. And I was able to fill in. I was not slated to read, but I was able to fill in and go read, and I was happy the kids were excited to see me. So MCAS update is my final piece. We do have MCAS in grades 3 and 4. We're pretty well prepared and ready for it. We start with ELA on March 27th. We are very busy making sure that all of the students have what they need for online testing. All of our students, if they're EL learners or students with disabilities, we provide a wide array of accommodations to make sure they're able to access the test, which all has to be put in ahead of time into the computer system. So we're very busy making sure that all of the students have what they need. All of the teachers have what they need in terms of training to be able to administer MCAS. And the teachers are really working hard to prepare our fourth and third grade students without increasing stress and anxiety. It's always a very fine line to make sure students feel prepared and well equipped to take this assessment, but not add stress and anxiety, and really making sure that we send the message that this assessment is for our knowledge and our learning, for what we're doing well and what we could do better, and that we just ask that they do their best, and that's all they can ever do. So we really want to make sure that we're not piling on anxiety for our students, because MCAS, we hear it everywhere, and we don't want that to trickle to our students. And we also had some students receive the Student Achievement Award from the Department of Ed. We had 6 students receive that award. That is an award given to students who have who are maybe students with disabilities or English language learners who show exceeding expectations on last year's MCAS. So we had 6 students receive that award. We are inviting parents in on Thursday to celebrate their children and them for this accomplishment. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Congratulations to those students. That's great news.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments from the committee? No. Well, thank you for your updates. It's nice to see the approach on MCAS. You know, it can be something stressful. It is very important, but a good balance there of taking it seriously, but hopefully removing some of that stress for some of our littlest test takers.
Well, and we know that's important, you know, for good test taking too. Anxiety can get in the way of, you know, their results. So it's a fine line, but I know the teachers are doing a really great job of handling it with compassion and care.
Great. Good deal. Any other questions or comments from anyone?
Through the chair,
Yes, Miss Millett.
I wanted to add that it was nice to see a picture of some of our students on the front page of the Webster Times this past week. Thank you, Ms. Peterson. It was nice to see that, and I hope we see more in the future from all the schools.
We have submitted, we've at least submitted one article to on Community Reading Day, and we have another one ready to go. So we are also trying at PAE to get the word out there of all the good things.
Awesome.
Yeah, great point, Miss Millett. And you know, the PR piece is such a time-consuming and difficult thing, but it definitely plays dividends in getting some exposure for some of the amazing things that are already happening. So good deal. Anything else anyone wants to add before we move on? No, hearing none. The next item on the agenda, oh, by the way, thank you, Ms. Poliafico, for your updates. The next item on the agenda under old business is a monthly report on fundraising applications. And just as a reminder, it is the role of school committee to review fundraising applications, but we don't approve them. Those are done, the approvals are done at the building level. So it looks like we have a number of fundraisers that are happening. Ms. Prangeli, did you want to talk about them, or do you want me to take it?
Sure, he can go through them if you'd like.
Sure. So it looks like Bartlett Student Council is holding a PBIS event. Oh, sorry, actually, this is a talent show. They're collecting either money or a non-perishable food item for admission. And that's going to benefit the local food bank. That's happening on March 23rd. The class of 2023 is holding a dance for 5th and 6th graders and for 7th and 8th graders. Also raising money for their class. And those tickets are going to be $5. And that event's coming up next week. And let's see here. Another class of 2023 fundraiser is the Spring Fling. And that's going to be happening on Friday, March 24th. Collecting money for admission, and that will benefit the class. And then the Webster Middle School Band and Chorus is selling band and chorus apparel online, and that's going to benefit the students to offset the cost of their trips and events that they're doing. So, any questions or comments from the committee about all of that? No? Okay. The next item on the agenda is a report from the Superintendent Search Committee. So as many of you know, I won't unpack the whole process that has led us up to today, but I will provide an update on where we're at now and where we're headed. So the search process obviously began in January. We have conducted interviews with semifinalists. We've narrowed the field to 4 finalists. Those interviews will be happening tomorrow and Thursday. In addition to that, over the last several weeks, we've been doing some district visits, both going to the home district of applicants and bringing those applicants into the Webster district as well. And we plan to have a selection made either Thursday or Friday of this week at the conclusion of those interviews. So we've posted a meeting for Wednesday and Thursday for interviews with a deliberation on Thursday. If we're not able, either time doesn't allow or we're not at the point to make a decision on Thursday, we'll reconvene on Friday and hope to have that wrapped up at that point. So stay tuned for more. Those interviews are happening, unless we have some crazy weather like we had today, those will be happening at the central admin office at 77 Poland Street. They are open meetings. They are open to the public, the school community, and really anyone who has an interest who would like to attend and observe this process as it unfolds. Any questions or comments from anyone on that? No, I just want to once again extend my appreciation to the folks that have participated in the search process. Some of you are on this call tonight. It's a very important process that we're undertaking, and it's my hope that this has been a process that has been informative for all of us, been transparent, and will yield a really great superintendent for the Webster Public Schools. So thank you again to all of you who are here and members of the community that participated. If there's no questions or comments about that, we'll move on to the next item under old business, which is the FY24 budget update, discussion, and approval.
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Prangeli?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for covering me under the fundraising. It gave me the opportunity to go in and fix the date error I had on my presentation while you were talking. So I appreciate that. I'm going to share my screen. What I did is update, I think it's this one. Okay. You can see that okay? All right, so I updated our budget presentation that we presented back in January to the school committee. What I did was, if I can go back, okay. So this is our strategic plan. Our strategic objective was sense of belonging. So I always like to start the discussion. This is what has driven our initiatives throughout this school year, providing a safe and supportive learning environment. Students will do the majority of thinking. We're celebrating diversity by equitable and culturally responsive instructional practices across all classrooms, and ongoing communication, two-way communication with our families. This drives everything we do in the district today. At the last meeting, I was asked to provide a list, and this was in one of our past presentations, of the positions that were in ESSER. When we took this budget approach with the additional money, we went to look back at what funds we were applying for positions in ESSER, and then trying to prioritize those funds and see what we could move back into the budget. We had academic coaches for all schools, and I'm just going to go through this list quickly. For FY 23 and 24, we have an academic interventionist at Park Ave and Webster Middle School for this year and next year. We have counselor at Park Ave and a counselor at middle school for this year and next year. We have nurse assistant. We have an EL teacher at Park Ave. We have an EL teacher at the high school for this year. We had moved that position previously into the LEA, so it is included in the LEA budget already for FY 24. We have the interim dean position at the high school for FY 23-24. We have special education teachers at Park Ave and Webster Middle School. We have our building-based subs. We have a re-engagement specialist for FY 23 and 24. And we had the coordinator of equity inclusion that was in our ESSER grant for this year. And we are looking to replace that with an assistant director of student support services and equity for FY 24. When we started having our discussion at our DLT, we had about a 3-hour meeting last week to talk about our budget goals and the positions. We look to prioritize the safety of our students and their learning needs, to continue to improve our student programming with focusing on developing strong academic skill. We look to continue to provide staff with ongoing professional development to build that internal capacity and sustainability. We look at taking a system-wide approach. So we looked at as a team what is best for the overall district. And the work that's led us here today with the additional funds is the ability to work collaboratively with our town partners. I think that's very important. We've had open and honest communication all year long about the needs of the community as a whole and about the school district and the work that is being done internally to move us forward. Again, I think it's important to take a historical look at our budget. For FY 23, you notice we had a larger increase. That's due to the adjustment in the Chapter 70 funds, the formula. They have reallocated items and put in a 6-year plan, or it was a 7-year, and I think they moved it to a 6-year plan to make the adjustments and increases over the Chapter 70 to make more equitable funding for our communities. This was our first proposed draft budget to the town on January 10th. We asked for $25,313,083, which represented a 5.17% increase. At this point in time, we were waiting for our Chapter 70 numbers to come out. We saw a larger, they were delayed by about a month and a half because of the turnover in administration as they were adjusting to new staff and new roles that they play and looking at the budgets statewide. The last 2 weeks, they came out with new allocations, new budgets. The Chapter 70 formula is continued to be adjusted accordingly to the new law, which meant additional funds in Chapter 70. So the town accountant, the town administrator, myself, we took a look back at the funds that we're receiving as a community, and we allocated an additional $616,339, working off of the 70-30 split that we originally agreed to with the town some time ago. So that increases our budget to $25,929,000 $1,422. So a $1.8 million increase, which equates to about a 7.73% increase. So after analyzing and knowing that we had 616,000, our goal was to go back as a leadership team after our discussion at our last budget meeting to take a look at the positions that we had. We revisited positions that we've already asked for in this current school year. We reviewed these already with you, but we had added a 0.5 administrative assistant for Park Ave. That was in the LEA budget. We had a library media specialist and a family liaison in ESSER. At middle school, we had a behavior interventionist and an ABA for a substantially separate program. Those were both in our local budget. And then we had a library media specialist and ESSER. At the high school, we had the math coach, which was already funded as an academic interventionist. We are just changing the role to a math coach, and that will be funded out of Title I, the continued funds that we had. And then we were looking for the new teacher, the Project Lead the Way teacher and coordinator, be 0.5 coordinator, 0.5 teacher, to move forward with our programming over at the high school. And then at the district, we already had that position in ESSER. We just are replacing it with the Assistant Director of Student Support Services. So then we put all of those positions into a list that we had that were in ESSER. And what we did is we prioritized by school, and then we looked at the district as a whole. So anything that you see in blue is what the district and the leadership here in Webster are requesting that we move back into our local budget. So we took our academic coaches, which falls in line with our initiatives in trying to move the district forward academically and supporting our teachers in the classroom. Those roles are critical to our success, and we have been working really hard, and the team has been working really hard, the academic coaches, to help with our programming across the schools. So we are looking to move all of those positions, those 3 positions, into our LEA budget. We also looked at the social emotional needs of our students, and we agreed that that meant adding the counselor for the Webster Middle School and prioritizing that back into the LEA budget. We also looked at our ELL numbers, and we agreed that for Park Avenue, that meant moving that position, and we believe we are going to have the ELL numbers to support that position. We also looked at our special education teachers at Webster Middle School and Park Ave. We are moving those, we are requesting to move those back into the LEA. And then we are looking at our re-engagement specialist for next year and moving that position back into the ELA with a clear focus on our dropouts and our graduation rates, and working with some of those students to try and help us get some re-engagement and getting them back into programming at the high school and keeping them on track. And that's where we lied. Those positions totaled the additional 616,339. So we are requesting that the school committee support those moves and improve the new budget number, 25,929,422, so that we can proceed forward in moving that, sending that budget back downtown, working collaboratively with the town, and starting to move forward with our public hearings and stuff as we need to continue on with the budget process. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Prangelly. Are there any questions or comments from the committee?
Through the chair.
Ms. Naprata?
Monique, I'm not sure if you want to speak to this, or maybe Mr. Collins, but I'm wondering about the decision to move the re-engagement specialist to LEA versus the dean at Bartlett.
Trying to get to my screen wider here so I can see you well. Okay.
Mo, do you want me, Miss Marie?
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this was a very, back and forth conversation and gathering data around the high dropout rate and the rate of student success and course completion and all of the things that we are facing in terms of at risk of not graduating. We came to the conclusion that it would be best to repost the position. We did find someone for that position this year who is in negotiations for contract now in terms of money, but we want to be able to secure someone in that position that can help with that long term, as it wasn't successful in that position before. In terms of looking at that versus discipline, I did make the final decision to move that direction with this position first, with a focus on the academic piece. And so that is strictly the only reason that that position was chosen first.
Okay, thank you for that explanation.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I thank you for that explanation. Could you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I said thank you.
I got you. I don't hear well anyway, so I'm always like this on the call.
Ryan, I couldn't hear that one either.
I'm bad about it. I'm sorry, y'all. You know when I'm going like this, that means I can't hear. I'm sorry.
Are there any other questions or comments from the committee about really anything related to the budget here?
Through the chair, I just
through
have an additional question. Is there one building sub at each building?
Yes, there is.
I just wonder, I know that Chair Siddiqui has shared concerns in the past regarding some class size numbers at the elementary school, and we did talk at the last meeting about how there's just no space to add more classrooms. I think one of the concerns comes up when staff is absent and there's additional students in each other's classrooms. So with the numbers of students and therefore staff at each building, I wonder if it maybe makes sense to do 2 building subs at Park Ave.
Miss Naparata, you actually read my mind, because that was a thought that I've been having, that since we freed up the ESSER monies, that I haven't even had the opportunity to talk to Dr. Mackay about this yet. But I agree. I think it makes sense if we can to have an extra building sub, because honestly, it's easier to get somebody who knows they're going to be in that long-term role every day than having that day-to-day. And we've been seeing that across the district. So that was actually on my agenda to talk to Dr. Mackay about seeing if we can get another building sub to help with the day-to-day operations. I do think it would be helpful, and I think we would have better success there, knowing that somebody would have that role every day. We'd get more interest. So
Thank
yes,
you.
that is on my agenda.
Through the chair,
Yes,
I
Ms.
was
Lipley.
just wondering, do we know if the all board meeting has been scheduled yet? The one that we have with the town and everybody?
No, there hasn't been a meeting scheduled. We typically would have
Okay.
those when we know finances are a little tight and there may be some added communication needed between the 3 boards. I think we all agreed that unless there was any concern about any overall department or where the funds were going across the community, that we really didn't need one. I did offer to the town if they did want the school department or they did want me to attend a selectman meeting to show some joint support for the overall budget, that I would be happy to do that. But I think this budget supports all the needs, not just for the school department, but for the town as a whole. We are in agreement with the budget numbers. So I think that we didn't feel there was a need for a tri-board meeting unless the committee wants that. I'm certainly happy to go back and ask the town if they'd like to schedule that.
Nope, I mean, I think that makes perfect sense. I just wasn't sure if we were moving forward with that this year or not. Thank you.
Great questions. Any other questions or comments from the committee? No. What I'll say is, I think that having some of these positions in ESSER was a little bit of a cause for anxiety for us, right? With the level of uncertainty regarding that funding, and to see some of those key roles moved into our budget is a relief. So thank you for that. I'll reiterate Ms. Navarreta's point about having enough adults to either cover classrooms or even better yet, supplement so that we can do small group instruction or other types of things, using not having additional classrooms per se, but having additional maybe paraprofessionals or something like that to be able to break things up or cover a room if needed, if someone's out or something like that. So it sounds good that that's being considered, maybe not quite what I just described, but at least having another building-based sub is being considered. And I would just encourage the team to continue to evaluate whether or not we have enough adults in each classroom, especially at the younger ages, maybe getting input from teachers or other people. Maybe you've already done that, but that might be helpful just to make sure we're covering enough bases to help keep kids at least on grade level at the early ages, because as we all know, once they start going backwards, it's very difficult to get them back on track.
And I don't think we disagree, Ms. Siddiqui. I think we're all in agreement of that. One of our most challenging hires this year has been hiring paraprofessionals and keeping them on staff and in the buildings. It's difficult to fill those positions. We're struggling with those. We're advertising, we're interviewing, and it just seems like we can't get people on board or people to come in and stay for long periods of time. I think the economy is changing a little bit. I think more people are going back to work, and I'm hopeful that as things maybe improve and the job market improves, that we'll get back to seeing applicants come in. But that has been one of our finding those paraprofessionals, those support positions, and finding those specialized positions, those ELL and those special educators have been very challenging and difficult for districts across, not just in Webster. I mean, this is not just a Webster problem. This is a school district problem everywhere. So we continue to look, we continue to advertise. We're trying to advertise in different manners to get interest in those positions.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that update. You're right. I think, the workforce shortage is a very real thing, and it's impacting lots of different industries, and education is not being spared that impact for sure. So thanks for that. And for the presentation as well, leading us all the way up to, where we came from to where we are now. Very helpful. So are there any other questions or comments from the committee regarding the revisions to the budget here? No. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve this budget as presented.
So moved.
Second,
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Member Millet,
yes.
Member Adamopoulos,
Yes.
Member Blythe,
Yes.
Member Naprata,
Yes.
Chair Siddiqui.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. And I just want to compliment the whole team on the group effort that was undertaken here to really dig deep to figure out which of these positions are really core to the goings on in each building. And it's very easy for school committee members to sit and say what we think is important, but really the magic is happening in the classroom, and having that understanding and being able to get at that from the building level is invaluable. So kudos to all of you that participated in that process.
Thank you. And I would just like to echo my thanks to the team. It was 3 hours in a room, and there was a lot of discussion and a lot of effort, but what makes me most proud and happy is that they're advocating for one another, and they're, maybe giving up a need that they really want for their building for another building. They're looking at the system as a whole. And I think that speaks to them as leaders. So I just appreciate their work and efforts, and looking at Webster's systematic approach as a whole. and what's best for our students. So I just want to say thank you to them for their work. It's much appreciated.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Perangeli.
I'll stop
That-
sharing.
Okay. And then the next item on the agenda is the approval of an out-of-state field trip, Bartlett High School art classes going to the Whitney Museum in New York City. Did you want to talk about that, Mrs. Perangeli, or did you want me to talk about it?
Sure, I'll take it. Mr. Harrington, the art teacher, is taking about 50 students to New York on April 28th. They have a full day itinerary, including a visit to the Whitney Museum of American Art. And this trip is going to be funded by the Janet Malsner Humanities Trust. So this is a trip that they rescheduled, and they are excited to go. And I've talked to Mr. Harrington about it, and they're really looking forward to it.
Great. What a great experience for the students too. Are there any questions or comments from the committee about this out-of-state field trip? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Member Millet,
Yes,
member Naprata,
Yes.
member Blythe,
Yes.
member Adamopoulos,
Yes.
Chair Siddiqui.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you to Mr. Harrington and everybody that put this trip together. Should be a great time. The next item on the agenda is to appoint interim superintendent Perangeli to serve on the Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative Board. So this is a board that Dr. Gogan previously served on. And, you know, I understand as a sending school, we're required to have some representation on that board. Is that correct, Mrs. Perangeli?
That is correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to appoint interim superintendent Perangeli to serve on the board of the Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative.
So moved.
second,
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Member Millet,
yes,
member Blythe,
Yes.
member Naprata.
Yes.
Member Adamopoulos,
Yes.
Chair Siddiqui.
Yes. Motion passes, and thank you, Mrs. Perangeli. The next item on the agenda is to appoint interim superintendent Perangeli to serve on the Central Massachusetts Collaborative Board. Same situation. This is a role that Dr. Gogan held previously, and we are required to have representation on this board as a sending school. Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to appoint interim superintendent Perangeli to serve on the board of the Central Massachusetts Collaborative.
So moved.
second,
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Member Blythe,
Yes.
member Millet.
Yes.
Member Naprata,
Your audio isn't good.
Yes.
got it. Member Adamopoulos
Yes.
and Chair Siddiqui.
Yes, motion passes. And once again, thank you, Mrs. Perangeli, for representing Webster on these two boards.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the review, transfer, signing of warrants, bills, payroll, and vouchers. We obviously are not going to be signing anything, but I think I saw a transfer request. Am I mistaken? To get back in there. Maybe not.
I don't remember seeing a transfer.
Sorry. Yeah, let me look here. Nope, just the warrant. Okay. So nothing really to speak of there, right?
Nope.
Okay, so then I just want to, the next item on the agenda is to move into executive session. And before I present all of that and the language, I do want to inform those of you that are here that we're going to move into executive session, but we're going to reconvene an open session. So Lori, any thoughts on how we'll alert people to the fact that we're back in open session, or we'll just resume the recording? What are the thoughts here? I know y'all have a burning desire to come on back.
all good.
I guess I have almost everyone's. I could start an email maybe. Yeah, I think email versus text. If you folks want to be watching your emails, I could do that.
It won't be earth shattering when we come back, but it's an open meeting. So we do need to move into executive session, but y'all are welcome to come back when we're done. So now with that being said, I will entertain a motion to move into executive session according to Mass General Law 30A, Section 219A, to discuss strategy and preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel.
So moved.
Second,
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Member Blythe,
Yes.
Member Millet,
yes.
Member Naprata,
Yes.
Member Adamopoulos.
Yes.
Chair Siddiqui.
Yes, motion passes. One other thing I'm thinking of is if you all want to leave and then you want to rejoin the waiting room, we can let you in when we're done. So just another possible workaround. And with that being said, we're going to move into executive session. So thank you, everyone.
The recording has been started.
Thank you. So welcome back from executive session. We took that time to review an amendment to Mrs. Perangeli's contract in light of the additional duties that she has taken on as our interim superintendent. And I'm pleased to let you know that the contract has been reviewed. It doesn't seem to be any questions from the committee. Is there any comments or questions from the committee regarding the contract or this whole process up to this point? No? All right. Well, I will entertain a motion to approve the addendum to Mrs. Perangeli's contract as presented.
So moved.
Second,
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Member Millet,
yes.
Member Naprata.
Yes.
Member Blythe,
Yes.
Member Adamopoulos,
Yes.
Chair Siddiqui.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for all of your help on this contract. And thank you to Mrs. Perangeli for stepping up and for your flexibility and willingness to take this on.
Of course, and thank you all for your support. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Is there anything else? If there's no other discussion, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Member Millet,
yes.
Member Blythe,
Yes.
Member Naprata.
Yes.
Member Adamopoulos,
Yes.
Chair Siddiqui.
Yes, meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone. Stay warm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.